Reflective teaching means looking at what you do in the classroom, thinking about why you do it, and thinking about if it works. So this becomes a process of self-observation and self-evaluation. In order for one to be a successfully reflective teacher, you have to understand different means that you can use to learn about your class and use them to guide you. In a much deeper level, reflective teaching is therefore a means of professional development which begins in our classroom, and by collecting information about what goes in our classroom and then analyzing and evaluating this information, we identify and explore our own practices and underlying beliefs. Why is it important? Many teachers already think about their teaching and talk to colleagues about it. So you might tell someone what my lesson went well or why my students didn't seem to understand the lesson you just did, or you could not handle your students because they were badly behaved today. So things you should look for in your lesson plan would be different ways which you improve them cognitively, psychologically, and socially, and even morally. So students feel and will appreciate coming to your classes when they see how the lessons are helping them get better in so many ways. So it is important that you include methods and ways in your daily lesson plan that will make students grow, relate what you are teaching to something they enjoy doing or things they will interest them, sports they all love, and the things they do out of school. Students will like you as a teacher if you are going around class and giving them credit on what they are doing. When you show you are interested in what is going on in class, and when they see you, you treat them well and with care. They also want you to challenge them in a way they evaluate themselves. Because as we know, English language is not just for English people, but also for everyone. So you have to make your English lesson to be interesting so that everyone could participate. Okay. So reflective teaching, therefore, implies a more systematic process of collecting, recording, and analyzing our thoughts and observations, as well as those of our students, and then going on to making changes. If a lesson went well, we can describe it and think about it why it was successful. So in your lesson plan, make sure the learning objectives and instructions are clear and well thought. This is the part that basically tells students that the lesson will either be a boring or a good one depending on how those areas are presented. Making sure everything is well detailed out is one way to avoid students' confusion. So if a student didn't understand a language point we introduced, we need to think about what we did and why it may have been unclear. It takes your student a learning experience to always remember something about the lesson. It might be an experience where you give learning cues, or an experience where students question your way of presenting ideas that helps them understand what is going on in class. With that in mind, you have to remember each student's learning experience is not the same as another student. So that is dependent of individuals' differences, and as a English educator, you are going to change with how you present so you can meet each student's need. Your goal should be to have every student is reached and walked out of your class having benefited on the same level as any other student. So, to easily meet our goal, I will be discussing 3 things that will help us to easily meet the things that we want to achieve and to let our students learn things easily. So the first one is reflection. So why is the reflection very important? So as you can see, the process of reflection comes in a wide range of ways. You may begin a process of reflection in response to a particular problem that has arisen with one or your classes, or simply as a way of finding out more about your teaching. So there are also other ways to help you become a better reflective educator. So another one is the teacher's diary. It is also a key way to make you best at this. So this can be during the lesson plan as students are busy with activities. It is the easiest way to begin a process of reflection since it is purely personal. After each lesson, you write in a notebook about what happened. You may also describe your own reflections or reactions and feelings about those you observed on the part of the students. So you are likely to begin to pose questions about what you have observed. Diary writing does require a certain discipline in taking the time to do it in a regular basis. You should remember that all these experiences you have done are going to help you understand yourself, the students, and more importantly, your environment you are working with. Another thing is the peer observation. Peer observation can be useful also in making you a reflective teacher. Invite a colleague to come into your class to collect information about your lesson. This may be a simple observation task or through note taking. This will relate back to the area that you have identified to reflect upon. For example, you might ask your colleague to focus on which students contribute most in the lesson, what different patterns of interaction occur, or how you deal with errors. As a student, teacher, you have to understand that these things will really help you. And besides, not only was having there creating more pressure in you to use what you have already learned from other lesson experiences, but also having the information about you that time and again you might not notice. Another thing is recording lesson. It is another way to help you become a reflective teacher. Video or audio recordings of lesson can provide very useful information for reflection. You may do things in class you're not aware of, or there may be things happening in the class that as the teachers you do not normally see. So, lastly, the student feedback as a reflective tool is something you can come back to. You can also ask your students what they think about what goes in the classroom. Their opinions and perceptions can add a different and valuable perspective. This can be done with simple questionnaire or learning diaries. Now that you have all that, the question becomes, what do you do next? Reflective teaching is a cyclical process because once you start to implement changes, then the reflective and evaluative cycle begins again. What you are doing, why are you doing it, how effective is it, how are the students responding it, how can you do it better? As a result of your reflection, you may decide to do something in a different way, or you may just decide what you are doing is the best way, and that's what is professional development all about. Thank you.